And there's Vaughn.
Thank you, everyone, and welcome to the Boonton Library and NorthStar Pet Rescue's joint program tonight. Welcome home, creating a happy home for your dog. My name is Annie. I'm from the Boonton Homes Public Library. Tonight we'll be hearing from Trey McCauley and Elvine Sang about NorthStar and also how to create this happy home for your dog. If you didn't hear before, we're going to mute people for the presentation. Feel free to enter any questions you have at any time into the chat room. We'll monitor that for questions. And also if, for example, you can't hear or you can't see or something like that, put that in there and we'll try to help you out. Or you could ask them at the question and answer session at the end of the program when we'll unmute people. Okay, and I'm just going to start by introducing Trey McCauley, the events coordinator for NorthStar Pet Rescue. Thank you, Trey.
Thank you. My name is Trey, as she said. I'm with NorthStar Pet Rescue. I just want to start by thanking the Boonton Homes Public Library for inviting us to collaborate with them tonight. It's October, so it's Adopt a Shelter Dog Month. So that's why we thought it would be a good night to get everyone together and talk about dogs, right? So a little bit about us. We were founded in 2017. And although that's fairly new, our founders, as well as many of our volunteers, have been doing rescue work for over a decade. We are 100% foster-based and also 100% volunteer. So that's a little unique about us, because a lot of other organizations, aren't 100% volunteer that way, which is a lot of work. And we really thank our volunteers for that. We do have an adoption center. It's right here in Boonton. You can find it right across in the building across from Town Hall. We use that space for adoption appointments, events, other rescue activities. We do not house any dogs there. Once again, our dogs are all in foster homes. Basically, we will save dogs locally. We will pull dogs out of shelters in state, out of state, no matter where we're pulling them from. We're putting them in comfortable, loving foster homes while we look for their forever home. And that's basically the short spiel of what we do. I'm going to throw the Frisbee over to Elvine now. She's our featured speaker. Elvine is a certified dog trainer as well as a certified dog behavioral consultant. She is also a NorthStar volunteer.
Also a NorthStar volunteer. Thank you. I am a certified dog trainer through Animal Behavior College and also a certified dog behavior consultant through International Association of Animal Behavior Consultants. It is a master level certification, and I am very, very proud to have gained that certification just a couple months ago. I have been training dogs professionally for a number of years now, I think 10, 12 years. And before that, working with dogs on a unpaid capacity. Everybody comes to me for training advices and family, friends. So for the unpaid capacity, probably anywhere between 15 to 20 years. So today we're going to talk about bringing a new dog home mostly, and also how to create a happy home for your dog. Are we ready to start sharing the screen? Yes? Okay. Okay, Trey, you can see my screen?
I can. Very good.
All right. Let's see how I can move this. All right, so welcome home. Creating a happy home for your dog, and this is presented by NorthStar Pet Rescue and myself, Elvine. First slide. So if you don't own a dog, or at least one, there may not necessarily be anything wrong with you, but there may be something wrong with your life. This is one of the favorite quotes that I have seen out there with, what is his name again? Roger Cares. So today's agenda, we're gonna go straight into the presentation itself. Today's agenda, we're going to talk about decisions. Should we foster? Should you adopt or purchase? Meet and greets, why are they beneficial? Prerequisite, before bringing your new dog home. Upon arrival, when you bring your new dog home. What's next? Decompression, adjustment, house training, routine. Appropriate activities, exercise and socialization, training and behavior, feeding, handling, crating. And then the very end would be our Q&A session. So first we want to talk about fostering, since NorthStar Pet Rescue is a foster-based nonprofit. Picture here was my first foster dog for Tammy, and her name was Peggy, and she came all the way from Taiwan, actually. She had recently passed away, but she will always hold a place in my heart. So fostering for a reputable 501c3 nonprofit organization with a robust fostering program like NorthStar Pet Rescue is a great way to start helping homeless animals directly. You know, a lot of times people would talk about how can you help homeless animals if you don't have the funding or you don't have, you know, necessarily the time to volunteer on weekends. Fostering is definitely one way to go. And for every dog you offer to foster, another can be safe to take its place within the rescue organization. So when you take one dog home to foster, that rescue can actually go out there and tag another animal at a shelter to bring into its program. There are no permanent commitment. You foster when you want with the full support of the foster program behind you. Again, NorthStar Pet Rescue, I've fostered for a couple of different rescues, and I am always very impressed with NorthStar's support for its fosters. And this is also a great way to test drive dog ownership or finding the dog who is a perfect match for your lifestyle. I have not adopted any dog that is not one of my fosters. They pretty much came, and then one day I woke up and I go, oh my God, I don't think I can live without this face. You know, I get to wake up to next couple of years. So, and we called it, most of us would call it foster fail, but I would consider more of a foster win, because you really get that dog that just, you know, that just connects with you, you know, on almost a spiritual level, and also with your existing pets as well. So it's a great way to test drive dog ownership. Some people don't know if they have, you know, the tenacity to own a dog full time, and that's okay. You can have a foster dog for maybe a day, a week, 2 weeks, maybe a month or 3 months or 6 months, adopt it out, and then you go, well, I kind of need a break. I'm sorry, this is my cat Hiccup. He's just a Zoom aficionado, so he's gonna be here constantly. So one way to figure out if you really do want dogs full-time or not is to foster. You can foster for 6 months, and then the rest of the year you want to take off and you want to go on vacation, and that's perfectly fine. So the next slide. Adopt. When you adopt a dog from a reputable 501c3 nonprofit organization, you're saving 2 lives. The dog you adopted, and another dog who can now take the space your new dog vacated. So again, you're, you know, kind of like fostering, you're making space so that the rescue that you're adopting from can go out there and tag another animal to bring into its program. The adoption fee usually pays for transport and initial round of vetting, which often costs more than $500. If you decide to purchase a puppy, it will come with the cost of the whatever rounds of you know, vaccination it requires up until it goes home, and then the rest is up to you. But most of the time when you're adopting an adult dog from a rescue, they pay for the vetting and all the veterinary costs before the dog comes to you. So it's, you know, some people would say, hey, you know, that the adoption fee is quite high, but if you think about how much the initial cost of vetting is going to cost, that is actually quite a bargain. Also, No two rescue dogs are alike. Mutts come in all sizes and flavors. Yours will be 100% one of a kind. So I have painting behind me of my dogs, and none of them look alike. We did DNA tests, and again, they're just mutts, and I love them because they're so unique, and no two of them are alike. Also, this happens to actually a lot of our adopters. Adoption is kind of like a gateway drug to fostering. Some adopters, and I see people smiling already in the cameras. Some adopters, they begin fostering after their first adoption, so that they can do more to help, the rescue that they had connected with. And that is a great way to get more involved with animal rescue. And through adoption, you may find yourself being drawn to why are these volunteers so dedicated, and what do they do on the weekends? Do they even have free time? Like, I wish I can be like them and help out. And then one thing after another, then you're fostering your first dog, and then you're fostering, and then in maybe 2 or 3 years now, you're fostering your 50th dog. So that could happen, and don't be ashamed of it. It's actually a good thing. All right. So purchase. Puppies. So puppies. Purchase. It is okay to purchase. Some people have very special needs and requirements, and that's perfectly okay. And as long as you do your research and you purchase from a reputable breeder. When purchasing from a reputable breeder who breeds for sound temperament and breed standard, with health testing and planned breeding, you're likely to get a puppy with a predictable adulthood. So you're looking, when you purchase from a reputable breeder, there are actually a lot of very specific German Shepherd breeders out there. If you're looking for a very specific look, you don't want the slope back, you want a dog with European bloodline, you want a dog with a particular type of temperament, some of those breeders are also animal behavior consultants. So you will likely get a puppy with a very, very predictable adulthood. You know exactly what your purebred puppy will look like when it's full grown. I mean, if you get a bulldog puppy, it's going to grow up into a bulldog. I mean, there's no surprise. Kind of like, if you adopt a puppy, a very young puppy from a rescue, the puppy could be 7 weeks old, 8 weeks old, and then you go, oh, this is really great. I have a tiny little puppy. And then, 11 months later, you have a 100-pound full-grown dog. So that's a bit of a surprise, which you will not get when you purchase a purebred dog. And people with allergies, they can also opt for breeds that produce less allergens. There's actually a study out there that proves that there are actually no hypoallergenic breeds. You do have dogs that will produce less allergens through saliva or dander, but those are the breeds that are better for people with allergies, and they need to they need to look for those type of breeds, such as Weimaraner, Poodle. Purpose-bred breeds have distinct breed-specific behaviors and traits for those looking for very specific qualities. Some people want a protection dog, so a lot of times they would look for, German Shepherd or Belgian Malinois from a protection bloodline, or they're looking to do some weekend hunting. So these people would probably look for German Shorthair Pointers or wire-hair German wire-hair Pointers. Very, very specific purpose-bred behavior traits. Okay. Meet and greets. So why are meet and greets important? And we're not talking about just rescues, but also breeders as well. Everyone in your household, including dogs, should meet potential candidates for adoption whenever possible. And this is to ensure that, dogs will get along. You can't bring cats, but if the meet and greet is done at your household, then a quick meeting with the cat might be helpful as well. Also, some people can look at a picture online and go, oh, I really like this dog. But then when they see the dog in person, they're like, I don't really feel connected. So it is best to have everybody in the household meet the potential candidates for adoption whenever possible. And also this way, it's a good indicator of if the candidates meet physical or temperamental expectations. Sometimes you see a dog online in a picture or through pictures or videos, and you're like, oh, this dog is really having fun and very exciting. But if you meet the dog and the dog's hiding the coffee table, hiding under the coffee table because he doesn't want to come up to your son, then obviously that is probably not going to be a good candidate for your household. And you can only gain knowledge to that through meet and greets. Also, if you do go to a good breeder, you will more than likely going to meet the mother of your potential new puppy at the breeder's house. And then by meeting the mother or the father or both, that can give you a glimpse into the puppy's future temperament. And you can also see the puppy interacting with its little mates and also the adult dogs in the household. And, through these meet and greets, a lot of times you don't always end up with the puppy or dog you went to meet, but you will go home with the puppy or dog you need. And, I can't say that through my line of work, I have met people don't come to me happily. People come to me for help with problems. And they're always at a certain point in life where they are capable and able to provide aid to that dog, that specific dog that they have at the time that needs their help. And it's that has always been the way, and it has never failed this line where you always have the dog or puppy that you need at that moment in life. Canine meet and greets. All right, so this is a very, very important slide. Let me see if I can move. Oh, sorry. Canine meet and greets. Safety of all is the #1 priority. It can be weird meeting dogs that are new. For dogs to meet other dogs, it can be a little nerve-wracking, and especially dogs that are not super sociable, don't have good social skills, or just aren't that experienced in meeting other dogs. It can be very, very stressful. You want to conduct the canine meet and greets in a species appropriate manner through canine body language, scent, sound, sight, and with plenty of room. Having plenty of room for dogs to meet is very, very important. In a very tight space, they will not have the room to maneuver and to give each other space and do their social dance kind of a thing. You want to avoid on-leash, nose-to-nose greetings, but if you must, you want to keep them under 3 seconds. The reason why we avoid nose-to-nose greetings is that it is not a natural way to greet two dogs. Dogs tend to greet nose to butt. They will kind of walk around each other a little bit in a half circle formation and try to each sniff each other's butts, or stand behind another dog and and just sniff the air that when the wind passes through. Nose-to-nose greetings can be very stressful and a lot of times confrontational. If they are staring directly at each other and they're approaching straight on, it can create unnecessarily stressful situations and maybe causing fights or scuffles to happen. Definitely not a good way for dogs to meet. If you do have to meet nose to nose, like a walking past another dog kind of a nose to nose greeting, keep it under 3 seconds. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, and you go, okay, thank you, bye-bye, and then you keep moving. You want to be mindful of tail expressions so you can keep the meet and greet at a comfortable and less stressful level for all canine participants. So to the right of the slide, I have a couple of tail position diagrams that you can look at. There is the above spine level. This is a confident dog. There is a, oh, there is a playful, which is at spine level. When the dog's tails are stiff and with piloerection would be what people commonly refers to as hackles. So if the hair down their neck and spine are standing up, that is not necessarily an indication of fear or aggression. That is an indication of extreme excitement, kind of like our goosebumps. We can have happy goosebumps, and we can have scary goosebumps. And dogs are the same way. They can you know, see their favorite meal and get, you know, hackles because they're so excited and happy about it, or they see a dog that they don't really like approaching them, and so they're, you know, the hackles go out, and that's a sign of fear / anxiety / possible aggression. And when the dog's tail is well above the spine level and very, very stiff with piloerection, like a flagpole, that is a sign of most likely aggression. Some dogs naturally carry their tails very high and very stiff, and it just indicates poor social skills and poor body language. It's kind of like not really knowing how to behave around other dogs, and those dogs are actually quite common. So you pay attention to the diagram. This is a very quick overview to tail positions, and that we got to remember that just because the dog is wagging his tail, it does not mean that that dog is friendly. The position and the stiffness, position as in above spine level, at spine level, or below spine level. You know, tail position is extremely important to look at, and also are they wagging sideways? Are they doing the helicopter, or are they straight up and wagging very quickly and stiffly from side to side? Those are all different indicators of it kind of gives them their current mood away. So canine meet and greets and tail expressions, very, very important when you're conducting a meet and greet for, you know, an existing dog and a potential new dog. Okay, so before bringing your new dog home, you want to make sure that your house is safe for a new dog. Put away things that dogs hide, your new dog may get into, such as open garbage cans, shoes, socks, wires, houseplants, and even children's toys. We run into this problem quite a bit. When they're children, there very likely could be toys all over the place, and every single one of them is a choking hazard to your new dog. So you want to make sure that you know, you start with basically child-proofing your home for a new dog. Essentials. So what do you want to prepare before you bring a new dog home? You want to make sure you have at least one collar, harness, leash, food, and water both, age-appropriate food, treats, crate, gate, exercise pen, bedding, safe toys. Collar with NorthStar Pet Rescue, we prefer the martingale collar. It is when adjusted properly, it is slip proof, so dogs cannot slip out of the collars when on the martingale. And that is especially important when you're using a harness on your dog. Age appropriate food, again, you can choose to have puppy food or adult food or senior food. And the best thing to do is to talk to a knowledgeable store associate. I always prefer the smaller independent mom and pop shops because they tend to be more knowledgeable. Or you can call Chewy. They have exceptional customer service, so they can always steer you to something that's more appropriate. Crates, gates, exercise pens. Some people want to crate train their dog. That's awesome. Some people just want to gate their dog off to one area. That's perfectly okay too. Exercise pen. Some dogs, smaller dogs especially, would do well in an exercise pen because they can't jump over that and they can't tip them over. So those are all appropriate tools for confinement and keeping your dog safe. Bedding. I tell people, I constantly have to remind people this. Don't get too crazy with, like, you know, 200, the first bed as a $200 bed from Orvis or something with the dog's name, you know, stitched to it, embroidered to it. It is very possible that your new dog will destroy it, and you're going to be upset, and then it's going to be a really sad thing and $200 wasted. Start with towels or old blankets, old comforters. If you want to stitch a comforter from, you know, one full size comforter into a tiny little pad, you can do that too. But go with something that if it gets peed on and you have to throw it out, or if it gets chewed on or shredded or whatever, that you're not going to get upset. There will, I promise you, there will be plenty of time to buy extravagant beds for your new dog. My dogs have their own day bed. So it's perfectly, extravagant beds are approved by this dog trainer, just not in the beginning. And safe toys. There are toys out there, and there are terrible toys out there. So you always want to do some research. A lot of the good companies like Westpaw Design, Planet Dog, these are all good, responsible, ethical companies that you can look at for safe toys. You want to identify an area in your home where you can set up a quiet corner for your new dog to eat, sleep, relax without being bothered. Because dogs, they need personal space too. It is important that dogs get to relax, you know, without having to worry about somebody walking up to him and poking him and continue to want to play with him, even when he is already tired and he needs a nap. Tired dogs are like children. They get cranky, and we don't want dogs to be cranky. Also important, contact the veterinary hospital of your choice to schedule the first wellness checkup before you even receive your new dog or take it home. Especially these days, because of the pandemic, a lot of veterinary hospitals are, you know, are overwhelmed with need, and you want to make sure that you are calling ahead of time and making that appointment. I want to say they might be 2 or 3 weeks out as far as appointments go. So you definitely want to call ahead of time so that within the first week of your new dog's arrival, you are able to take him to you know, your vet of choice. When bringing your new dog home, introduce your new dog to his new home with a leashed tour around both the inside and outside of the house. I have dealt with quite a few new dogs, new foster dogs or newly adopted dogs, where the people put them in a car, drive straight into a garage, and they never see the outside of their house until that dog is lost the next day. And the dog could not find its way home, even though it is within a mile from the house. I have actually picked up a dog on my way driving to the adopter's home, and I saw the dog walking on the sidewalk. So I called his name. He came to me. I lassoed him and I took him home. That was the quickest, you know, catch and return ever. And he couldn't find his way home because he's never seen the outside of his house. He's only seen the inside and the yard. So once he got out of the front door, he couldn't figure out how to get home because he had no idea. He had no idea where he was. He's never seen the outside on the front. So you want to make sure that you take the dog on a leash tour around both the inside and outside of the house, and, you know, quick walk around the neighborhood, short quick walk around the neighborhood if you could. Introduce your new dog to his quiet corner where he will eat, sleep, and relax when personal space is needed. This is a perfect time to begin crate training. Some dogs may not be used to a crate when they arrive at your home, but I would hope that most of the dogs that have already gone through fostering with the NorthStar are already accustomed to being crated. The reason why I said this is a perfect time to begin crate training is that when dogs arrive into a new environment, everything's new to it anyways. All the rules are new, all the smells are new, everything's new. Might as well start a new thing, which is crate training. So you got to start new anyway, so why not now? If you have more than one dog, each dog should have their own food bowl and access to more than one water bowl. Some people will have the dogs share the bowl or eat next to each other, even new dogs. And I'm always like, you know what, I have to say, when I'm with people that I don't really know, I don't want to sit right next to them and eat so close to them. And I'm certainly not going to share, a diet soda with them. That is an absolute no-no. So, multiple water bowls, because some dogs will guard water bowls. So multiple. So if you have 2 dogs, you can have 2 water bowls or even 3. And you definitely want each dog to have their own food bowl, and you want them to eat completely separated in the beginning to make sure that there are no food aggression or resource guarding. Avoid overwhelming your new dog with too many visitors or activities during the first 2 weeks. Stick to the basics, such as eating, sleeping, playing in the yard, and leash walks around the neighborhood. I have taken over fostering after a very timid and scared dog was lost in a state park for, I think, 3 weeks. That dog was taken into foster first, and on the day it left to its foster, it went to a outdoor cookout. He slipped his harness immediately, and he was gone for 3 weeks. We finally caught him, brought him back, and I had him until he was ready to join another family and went to another foster. But again, be it a new foster or a newly adopted dog or a newly purchased dog, avoid overwhelming your new dog with visitors or activities. Just, take it slow, keep it quiet, just stick to the basics. It's one of my favorite pictures. Decompression. You will hear a lot if you're involved with rescue or somewhat familiar with rescue. You will probably hear people talking about decompression. There are dogs out there that do not need decompression. They come in and it's like they have never left this home, and that is absolutely wonderful. But most dogs aren't like that. You're lucky if you get a dog like that. Most aren't, and they're going to need time to learn. They're going to need you to give them space and treat them with patience. So during the decompression period, stick to the basics during the first week or 2. Regular walks, a quiet place to eat, drink, and sleep. Establish a routine, and also avoid having visitors or parties at your house. You don't need grandma and her entire book club to come see your new dog. The first week, you got it. It is very confusing. The environment is new. All the people are new. Everything is new. The smell is new. You got to cut your dog some slack and let him anchor to his new environment first, and then start introducing him to new people and new things. So at NorthStar Pet Rescue, we recommend keeping a leash on your new dog at all times during the first week or 2 when there's a human present to supervise. So you can quickly grab or step on the leash whenever needed to prevent accidental escapes, scuffles with existing pets, etc. You will, this is to all the NorthStar volunteers that are watching this presentation. You will hear from Tammy or I if we do not see a leash on your foster dog in that picture or in that video. This is a tried and true safety method. We want to make sure that dogs are safe. We consider all new dogs, flight risk. So all of them must have a leash on them at all times during the first week or 2 when there's a supervision. Give your new dog a chance to form a bond with you so he knows who to look toward when he needs a little help figuring things out. So it's kind of like going into a new home is kind of like dropping you like in the middle of nowhere on the Alps. You don't speak the local language. You don't know what's going on. The smell is different. Signs is different. Food is different. You don't know what's going on. You're gonna need some time to get oriented, and you're gonna need some time to maybe get to know your host family. And dogs are the same way. They need to form that relationship or that bond with you first, so that they can when they're unsure of what's going on, they can kind of look at you and be like, so what do I do next? And you go, oh, it's not scary. It's perfectly okay. Here are 5 treats. And you want to be able to have that relationship to help them out when they need it. Adjustment. So your new dog may need a little or a lot of time to adjust to his new home, depending on temperament. Again, there are some dogs out there that, you know, they come in and they're like, oh, this is my home. I've been here 15 years. And they're not bothered by new things at all. And those dogs they're born adjusted, well adjusted, and well-rounded. And you'd be so lucky to have a dog like that. Unfortunately, most dogs aren't like that, so they will need some time to adjust to the new environment. So if you have other pets in the house, it is also best you give your new dog some time to settle down from his journey before slowly introducing the other pets to him. Do not ever assume that all dogs will immediately get along upon introduction and start sharing their food, water, treats, and bed. Some dogs don't even like having another dog inside the house, even though they can meet dogs outside the house and it's totally fine, playing with them and engaging them. I've met quite a few dogs like that. They're okay going to the dog park. You bring a dog into their home and they're like, who the hell is that? This thing is not leaving. I don't want this thing here. This is my home. And that's when you want to find out, that you may need to do a slow introduction. So other pets in the house, stick to slow introductions. So introduction to resident cats should be slow and with safety in mind. I can't stress this enough. People think that cats will hide and then they'll eventually come out, but you're forgetting the mental well-being of your cat. Cats are actually very fragile animals. If they're stressed, they can die from that stress within 72 hours. So you want to be very, very mindful of how you introduce a new dog to your resident cats. Use baby gates to establish safe zones for the resident cats, and then employ site swapping and scent swapping tactics. Site swapping is if you keep the cats in your bedroom and you keep the dog everywhere else. Eventually, you want to be able to keep the dog in your bedroom and the cats out, so that this way they're swapping their sites and they can get a smell of what the other one has touched. Scent swapping. Scent swapping is also, it's actually quite easy. Scent swapping will be bring the cat's bedding out and bring the dog's bedding in, so that the cats can sniff the dog scent on the bedding, the dog's bedding, and the dog can sniff the cat's scent on the cat bedding. So that is called scent swapping. So before you let them meet, these are 2 things that you can do: site swapping, scent swapping. And then eventually you may need to do a little bit of integration training through food, through sharing meal time, through, behind a baby gate, that kind of stuff. So there's a whole procedure that I do to do dog cat integration. And but the key, the focus of doing this is doing introduction this way and slowly is to to do it with safety in mind and to make sure that your resident cats are safe and keeping their stress level to a minimum. House training, one of the most popular topics. So as far as house training goes, when you bring a new dog home, be it a puppy, adult, or senior, you should always assume your new dog, even adults, will likely have accidents in the house in the beginning. So establishing a consistent routine, along with keeping tabs on his food and water intake, will help him regain house training manners in this new environment. New environment, excitement, you may forget that he has to go out, and he may forget that he has to go out until it's too late, or he got nervous and he urinated on the floor. So what I usually recommend my students do is to schedule regular potty breaks. Usually we start at 2 hours, every 2 hours, unless you're sleeping. Plus, when one of the following, I call them exceptions. So when one of the following happens, they should go out almost immediately after eating a meal or drinking lots of water. They should go out immediately after waking up from sleeping or napping. They should go out after coming out of confinement. So if they come out of their, their quiet corners or their crates or their exercise pens, you take them out immediately. So you could go out to talk to the neighbors for 30 minutes and you put your dog in a crate. 30 minutes later, you come back, you take your dog out. You do not assume that 30 minutes later, oh, the dog's totally fine. I just took him out earlier. No, you take him out because he just came out of confinement. And then this is the one that most people would miss, and especially with puppies, after play excitement. So I could go to somebody's home to do a puppy consultation. And when we get there, the first thing I do after greeting them is that I say, take your puppy out right now. And that could be about 15 minutes into the consultation itself, because, after initial greeting, after all the excitement is done, the puppy likely will need to, potty. Also, this is a little trick to keep dogs sleeping through the night so they don't wake you at 4 o'clock in the morning, so that he could go and sniff the yard. So you remove access to water 1 to 2 hours before the last potty break, before bedtime. So if your dog is going to bed at 11, what you do is at 10:30 or 10:45, you take that dog out for a last potty break. And 2 hours before that last potty break, you want to remove access to water. So take away the water bowl, so that, by the time 2 hours later, your dog can now try to empty his butt. And they don't need to drink in the middle of the night either, because we don't either. And we did not, none of us has ever died of thirst yet. Routine. So dogs, Trey, who's that, Trey?
That's my girl.
That's your girl.
By the way, that girl dragged a leash around the house for like 2 months, not 2 weeks, because she was into everything.
She was chewing everything?
She was into everything.
Oh, she was into everything, yeah. So that's one way of, she do what Trey does. Keep the leash on the dog to control her. Instead of grabbing her leash and trying to move her, grabbing her body, you just take the leash and go, this way. Thank you. So routine. Dogs thrive on consistency. You want to establish a routine to help your new dog feel more confident and comfortable. When things are predictable, they tend to settle down quickly because they're like, it's that thing again. I'm totally fine with it. It's not a guessing game. Schedule your new dog's feeding, sleeping, walking, potty breaks, and playtime, so there's no guessing involved. You don't have to go, well, should I feed him at 8 or should I feed him at 9? No, if you're going to decide that you're going to feed at 8 and 6, then you feed at 8 and 6. So you're not constantly, changing and trying to remember what you did yesterday. Potty breaks are important, so having a routine is important. Create a checklist when there are more than one person involved in the new dog schedule, so everybody is informed. I have come a very unique case. The dog is extremely overweight, even though it is a young adult. And we then figured out that he was getting 4 meals a day, because the husband and wife don't always talk to each other. So sometimes the dog gets 2 breakfasts, and sometimes also 2 dinner. So you want to create a checklist so that, you, instead of asking, hey, did you do this? You just check on the list for the week and you're done. Consistent schedule is especially helpful in potty training your new dog. Again, if your new dog needs to go out at 2 o'clock every afternoon, take him out at 2 o'clock every afternoon. And obviously, when one of the 4 exceptions happen, you take him out too. But when you have a schedule, you don't have to have a guessing game. Should I take him out? Is he sniffing the ground? No, never rely on the dog to tell you if it needs to go out or not when it is a new dog, because you just don't have that relationship just yet. So it is very possible if your new dog has to go, he'd just be like, oh, I'm just gonna pee over here because I don't know the rules of the house yet. So you want to make sure that you do have a consistent schedule so that you can successfully potty train your new dog very, very quickly. One more thing about potty training. Sometimes new dogs, males, will come and mark in the house, especially when you have another dog or another pet in the house. It happens. Even neuter dogs may lift its leg and mark. Sometimes females would mark too. So that's when you can utilize training tools like you know, a belly band that is for male dog. You wrap a piece of cloth maybe with a sanitary pad on the underside, so that the dog has a sensation going, oh, there's something on my little pee-pee, so I shouldn't lift my leg. And that has come in very, very handy with some of the young male fosters that I have that are either returned for marking or came from another foster because they mark way too much. So that's something worth considering. But we want to remember that you know, these bands or diapers, you want to either change them often or let them not wear it as often as possible, because they can they do harbor bacteria. So we want to be mindful of their health. All right, so appropriate. Look at this gentleman here having so much fun on the sailboat. Appropriate activities. Dogs need daily physical and mental stimulations for their health and well-being. Exercises should be age appropriate. Consult with your veterinarian before taking your puppy out for a jog or other high impact activities. Like, we don't want to, puppies, just like human babies, have growth plates, and their joints may not be, may not be well enough for a jog. So we want to make sure that we're not hurting their joints when we take them out for high impact activities. So definitely talk to your veterinarian before doing so. So 1 to do daily long adventures plus structure walks, and 2 shorter potty break walks are good starters. Again, I get asked a lot, how often should I take my dog out? And the answer is always, it really depends. Do you have a very lazy dog that just want to go out and come back? Okay, then do one long walk per day and a couple of these short potty breaks. Or if you have a higher energy dog that wants to go out and sniff everything, then you do 2 or 3 longer adventure plus structured walks and 2 short potty break walks. Now, what's a structured walk? A structured walk is when you go out and your dog does not call the shots where you're going. Your dog will walk next to you with his head right about where your knee is, to your side, either left or right. And you walk, the first thing you do is you walk between 2 to 3 minutes without stopping, without sniffing, without stopping. Walk 2 to 3 minutes, and when you feel him giving you slack on that leash, and you can take him to one of his favorite spots, and you let him have the full length of the leash, and you say, okay. So you allow him when and where to sniff and mark. And then you gather the leash back into your hand and you continue that structure walk. So adventure plus structure walks are important. Slowly introduce your new dog to visitors at home and new friends, both human and canine, away from home. Too much too soon can be overwhelming. So, let's say you're 2 weeks up and your new dog seems pretty comfortable now. Do you then throw a backyard seafood extravaganza? No, you do not. You invite a couple of good friends over. You have a very relaxed meet and greet with very few people, and you do it slowly, and you take into consideration not to overwhelm your dog. Eventually, your dog probably can handle a family cookout, but until then, do it slowly. Do it safely, and obviously be mindful of your dog's tail expressions, so that you can kind of guess what his mood is at the moment. Training and behavior. Training at home can start immediately. Again, new environment, new rules, everything's new, might as well just start. There is no better time to teach your new dog new rules that when he is in brand new environment. New things, new beginnings, teach those new rules. Private training can begin at any time. Private training means, the trainer comes to your home to be a consultation or training session, and your dog really don't even have to be completely vaccinated when you do private training, because it's just going to be you and your dog in your own environment with a trainer there. So group training can begin after your new puppy completes the final series of vaccination. Usually puppies get 3 series of shots, and they get the third one right around 3 months old, I believe. So right about you want to give the vaccines time to kick in. So right around a 4-month mark, they can begin their puppy training class. There are some young puppy classes. I am not quite sure of their vaccine protocol, but they probably had puppies with about the same age in the same series of vaccines already in the same group. Dogs on furniture, sleeping in bed with you these are personal choices. But if you choose to do so, make it by invitation only. You get to tell your new dog when you'd like him to hang next to you on the sofa, or if he should work on a chew toy on the dog bed next to the sofa. So you should be the one telling your dog, hey, tonight, hang out with me here, on the sofa, and we'll binge Netflix together. Or he needs to stay in his bed on the floor while I get through this, Zoom meeting. As for me, I let dogs sleep in my bed. Why? Because I enjoy it and they love it. So there's no, well, you shouldn't do that. And my dogs are, they're actually quite obedient. Sleeping in bed with you does not ruin anything as long as you have, rules of engagement such as invitation only. Obviously, I don't let my dogs go into my bedroom when I'm not there. They're in whichever room that I am in. I would say 90% of the time. Training. So what obedience cues? I don't really care about sit or down. Those are, to me, those are more of a bragging rights kind of training. Hey, look, my dog can sit and wait, or my dog can lay down and wait. I care a whole lot about safety related obedience cues, such as recall, leave it, and loose leash walking. Recall, would your dog come if you call him in a jam? Let's say he darts out of the front door. Can you then squat down and call him? Would he come to you? That's the kind of thing that I care more about than being able to sit when I ask him to. Leave it. When you're out on a walk, you see a dead something on the road or a odd looking hot dog left on the ground. It could very well be poisoned. It could very well have a nail embedded in it. We definitely don't want dogs picking up stuff, off the ground to eat it while we're out on walks. So when I say leave it, my dog is going to ignore whatever he was interested in and keep walking. And that's why recall and leave it are the two things I teach in my basic obedience class first, during the first class, before we start on sit, stay, and down, stay, and all that stuff. Loose leash walking. Again, the dog's head needs to be next to your knee. Dog should not be in front of you at the full length of that leash. Loose leash walking is extremely important, so that you're not, you or even grandma even being dragged down the street by your dog. These are all essential skills. Recall, leave it, loose leash walking. Essential skills for every dog. These are the 3 things that everybody should be teaching their dogs before you start the whole sit, stay, down, stay. Feeding. What to feed the dog has been a hot topic, probably since the first domesticated canines started scavenging around human camps. Oh my God. Raw feeding, kibbles, canned food, home cooking. I grew up in Asia, so pretty much every dog out there back when I was there, survived on table scraps, and they were perfectly okay. I mean, some of them, like I remember when I was a kid, my dogs would eat like not chicken bones, but they would eat, pork ribs cooked poor ribs, and they're perfectly fine. Was it healthy? Probably not, but they didn't die. So, dogs are capable of handling a variety of nutrients and foods, and especially table scraps, but we just have to be mindful of what we give them. So do your research, read the ingredient list. My top, I guess, test for ingredient list are the first 5 ingredients plate worthy, as in if do they belong on a dinner, on the meal table? If you put it on the plate. Chicken, oh yeah. Cornmeal, probably not. Or beef pulp, no. Animal byproduct, definitely no. Bone meal, probably not. I don't even know what what is meat byproduct. It could be the zebra that died in the zoo 100 miles away last week. It's again, do your research, read the ingredient list. So consult, if you must, you can consult with a canine nutritionalist, and use common sense. I tell people this all the time. If you eat Taco Bell Taco Bell is food, barely, but it is food. So, but if you eat Taco Bell every single day of your life, you're probably not going to be a very healthy person. So free feeding is generally not a good way of providing your dog nourishment unless it is a medical behavioral requirement. Some dogs cannot eat, 2-3 meals a day. They just can't. And they prefer to graze or scavenge. And that's, again, if you and a certified, dog behavior consultant or a vet, vet behaviorist decide that free feeding is better, then do it. But generally, we don't encourage that, just because, again, you don't really know how much your dog ate, and the food could go stale sitting over there. And it's just easier to have to eat 2 meals a day. So sharing fresh food as toppers to your dog's regular meals is perfectly okay unless there is a medical reason not to do so. Chicken, pork, beef, things that aren't highly seasoned, or you want to do broccoli and potatoes and cauliflower, squash. Those things are all perfectly fine. You want to do your research, what's appropriate and what's not. But sharing toppers, not so highly seasoned fresh food with your dog is perfectly fine. Now, everybody should have the ASPCA Animal Poison Control Center phone number on your fridge. This is extremely important.
And in your cell phone.
In your cell phone too. It has, and I believe that you or your vet can call and you can pay a fee for that particular service. Extremely important. One of my clients' dog, I think 2 weeks ago, accidentally ingested a grape. She couldn't remember whether he ate 1 or 3 grapes. So they called up ASPCA, poison control. They figure out his weight ratio to how many grapes he can possibly handle. They send him to the vet, and they induced vomiting and got some of the grapes out, and he was okay. Grapes are highly, highly toxic to dogs. And in fact, we don't even know what it does to dogs, except that it causes renal failure. So if a tiny dog ingested 3 grapes, it's probably not a good thing. So definitely have the ASPCA Animal Poison Control Center phone number on your fridge and on your cell phone. Handling. Oh, this is something that I think most people neglect, because there's so many posts on social media about, how to trim your dog's nails, how to brush your dog, how to brush your dog's teeth. And I can't do this without wrapping my head with saran wrap and smearing peanut butter all over my forehead. None of this crazy methods of working with your dog should be necessary. You should be working to desensitize and counter condition your dog to being handled head to toe and to tail. So teach your dog to accept being handled, palpated, groomed, and restrained through conditioning and desensitization. You need to show your dog that things like this happen, and it can happen often, but they also happen with good things at the same time, like lots of treats, a spoonful of peanut butter, that kind of stuff. The best time to condition your dog is to having his or her paws handled for grooming and palpation is on the sofa watching TV with you. So while you're watching TV, you have the dog laying next to you and just play with his toes, squeeze them, expose the nails, and then kind of tickle his toes a little bit, pinch them a little bit, just work your way through it and kind of, handle him. Some dogs, don't like it. Other dogs are perfectly fine with it. And you can even eventually have a nail scissor just kind of just touching your dog's toes with it. You don't have to do it. You just need to touch him with it to kind of get used to being handled. That whole wrapping your forehead with the saran wrap and peanut butter on your forehead thing, I am not a fan of it. I generally don't like having the dog's teeth so close to my face when I'm doing something not so nice to him. Yeah, because again, they're animals. They're animals with sharp teeth in their mouth. You don't know if that reflex is going to cause him to bite you in the face. What's going to happen then? That saran wrap is not going to protect you. So there are better ways of doing it. It is funny and it's a good laugh on social media, but there are better ways of doing this to help get your dog get accustomed to being handled. Teach your dog to accept being handled while having his collar, harness, and coat or clothing put on or off. Some dogs are afraid of harness because something is coming over and then it goes over their head and they're like, oh my God, what is this thing? So, you want to make sure that your dog will get accustomed to. Some dogs do not like their collars grabbed. I don't like it either. I ask people not to do that, but occasionally we have to do it, which is why it is important to teach your dog being handled, collar on and off or grab gently, harness on and off, coats or clothing put on and off. Those are all those are all human activities that dogs, have to put up with. So you got to teach them to put up with them. And also, this is also extremely important. Teach your dog to accept being lifted off the ground. I mean, obviously, you can't really lift a 130-pound dog, right? But your small dog, your medium dog, and your 60, 75-pound dog, you should be able to gently lift him off the ground, even just a little bit, and he's not flailing and struggling. Again, you want to teach your dog to remain calm when he's being lifted, because you know what? Sometimes you may have to lift your dog into your car. You may have to lift your dog onto an exam table, or you may have to lift your dog over a boulder or something. So those are all good reasons for why you should teach your dog to accept being lifted off the ground. Crating. It is recommended that you crate your new dog, so not only does he have his own space to go to, but it will also aid in potty training and keeping him safe when he cannot be supervised. If you can't supervise your new dog, you don't know whether he's going to pee on your beautiful rug in the next 30 minutes or not. When you're not in the same room with him, put him in a crate. Put him in a crate with a frozen Kong, or put him in a crate with a bully stick, or put him in a crate with a Benebone. Put him in a crate. If you can't supervise him, put him in a crate. A good location for the crate will be a quiet corner in the house where he can relax and not be bothered by children or other pets. Make it possible. You can feed his meal in the crate, or send your new dog to his crate with treats, treated toys. Like, you want to stuff the Kong toys and then freeze them. That's perfectly, those work wonderfully. Or chew toys to keep him occupied. You never send him to his crate and he's going to sit there and be like, I'm so bored. You don't want him to be bored in his crate, unless he's super tired from playing for 2 hours and he just wants to nap. Never, ever, ever use your dog's crate as a punishment tool. He should never be going in there for timeout. The crate needs to be his happy place. You cannot send him there for a timeout. So he should always go into his crate with treats, treated toys, chew toys. Okay, so now we're that was the last slide, and then we have Q&A, and there's the wonderful NorthStar Pet Rescue URL, and then Bar Karma. If you guys want to reach out to me for questions regarding training or my services or whatever, you want to ask about, you know, crazy things like, should my dog eat, you know, salami? You can contact me via Facebook at Bar Karma. All right, so should we go straight into Q&A?
Sure. If people who have questions could unmute themselves and then just ask. I did not see any questions in the chat function, but people are welcome to add them now if they'd like. Does anybody have a question? I have a couple, but I'll let the others go first.
Trying to see if I can get everybody back up here.
How do I not share my screen?
Yeah, so we can get everybody back up there.
Yeah.
Sharing.
Pause. Oh, pause share. Stop share. Okay.
There you go. Got it.
Ah, wonderful. All right.
All right.
Erica,
anyone?
do you have any questions, Erica?
She's
you have
still
to unmute
muted.
yourself.
There you go.
Now, see, I'm very lucky that one of my best friends is a dog trainer.
Oh,
So
I
I
don't
gleaned
like her already.
Yes. She's taught me well.
Yeah, no questions. Are you sure?
I'm pretty positive.
All right.
we do.
All
Other
right, go
than, was
ahead and
that
mute
Gutter
yourself.
or Sophia in one of those pictures?
We do have a question via chat.
Okay.
Are there recommendations on how to adopt a dog and a cat together, not kittens or puppies, but young and both newly adopted?
Ooh.
Sounds very specific.
That's actually a really good question. I would say if you have to do that, and there's no way to avoid it, I would make sure that both of them have prior experience with with the other species. So maybe they could both come from a home with dogs and cats. So that would kind of bring up your, you know, give you a better chance at getting them acclimated. It is really not recommended. Like, we don't really even recommend adopting two puppies at the same time. You have so-called puppy syndrome, and they're a lot more difficult to train. Is it possible? I'm sure it is, but you want to make sure that that dog is extremely friendly toward all critters. That is extremely important, because the problem with having an inexperienced dog with an inexperienced cat is that the cat is going to run and the dog is going to chase, and thus begins the unending cycle of flee and chase. Cat will always run and the dog will always chase. So you have to stop one or the other. When you have two new animals that are inexperienced with each other, that is going to be a problem.
Okay, follow-up question.
Yeah.
I believe there might be a word left out of this question. So if the person could let me know if I read it incorrectly, please do so. If you wanted to adopt a cat and a dog, but not necessarily together, which scenario is better?
Established dog or established cat?
Yes.
Typically, I want to say established experience rather than establish a dog or a cat. So you can either pick a dog that's already proven to be cat friendly, or you can adopt a cat that is proven to be dog friendly. And that would again, give you a better chance of adding another species later on. There are actually, I've seen a lot of adult cats that came from, households that have dogs. So, and if they're perfectly fine, some cats are even better with dogs than their own species. So you can certainly, contact a cat rescue and say, hey, I want to add a dog in the future. So right now I want to look for one cat who may not necessarily be good with other cats, but is totally awesome with dogs. And there are actually quite a number of cats like that. So that's something that you want to look for. Or either an older dog. They are actually, I've met quite a few dogs that are totally awesome with cats, but cannot be around other dogs. So, so that's something that you want to consider too. And you want to, if you are only looking for a cat and a dog, then you may want to consider a dog that is not good with other dogs, but totally awesome with cats, and a cat, or a cat that is not good with other cats, but totally awesome with dogs.
Okay. And that reminds me of your earlier advice when having a dog and a cat, introducing them together, to use baby gates to give the cat an out.
Yep.
Okay.
You want to use a baby gate kind of to create a safe zone. Where the cat can jump into and go, oh, I'm safe now, I don't have to run anymore. And the dog goes, oh, he's in his safe zone, I can't get there, so I'm going to give up.
Yeah.
And you want to teach the dog to give up. We basically don't want to encourage the dog to chase. So which is where that leash, that the dog's dragging around, comes into handy. And step on that leash and the dog's not going anywhere. So you want to encourage you want to teach your dog not to chase. And you also want to teach your cat that he doesn't have to run anymore. And that's where now we can do integration training, which is to feed both species from either side of the gate, right? And gradually get them closer and closer and closer and closer and closer to the baby gate. And that way, they are eating and seeing the other one go, okay, I'm eating, and that one's over there, and I'm cool. And you gradually change their perception of the other one to something positive through food, through treats.
Now, following up on the dog and cat question, I understand that each dog is an individual and not representative of their breed, but can you say that some breeds are more apt to be prey driven and perhaps not, maybe look for something else if you're going to add another animal? Knowing that you can't rule out, every breed 100%.
Breeds that are used for hunting, hounds, sight hounds, things that use their speed to chase down critters. Dogs that are traditional breeds that are traditionally going to be reactive to small animals. Those tend not to do well. We have, I have worked with greyhound rescues in the past, and I think it's called National Greyhound Rescue. They have a cat room with a group of about 6 to 8 cats living in that room. And they are able to show their greyhounds to the cat room through a very big glass window, and see the dog's reaction. And the cats are just hanging there, just licking themselves, doing their thing, and they live there full time. They live and die there, but they have one of the best lives. They have people to play with them. They're fed, and they have all kinds of cat furniture they can get onto. But their purpose was to weed out greyhounds that are extremely aggressive toward cats, that cannot be taught. There are dogs that are extremely aggressive to cats, and those dogs are easy to rule out, because you can show them just a sight or sound of a cat and they will go off.
That's my one dog.
Yeah, that's
That
her
does that
one
way.
dog. Yeah. So you want to rule those out immediately. Everything else, I actually had established a cat testing protocol for another rescue, and you want to in that protocol, we were able to determine if a dog can go to a home with a cat that already had prior experience with dogs, or can go to a home with a cat that does not have prior experience with dogs but isn't absolutely terrified of them. So we are able to figure out who to match to what household and who to say absolutely no cats. So those are the things that has to be. It is very difficult, very, very difficult to just take a dog in that's residing in a shelter out to their cat room and just go, oh, he did not react. But when he's looking at, this has happened before too, when he's looking at 20 cats circling in their own cages, he may be so distracted that he's not reacting. This actually had happened before, where a dog was totally fine in a cat room with 15, 20 cats meowing and circling in their cages. But then once he got adopted to a household with 3 cats, he immediately started chasing and showing aggression. So that dog had to be returned. And the rescue group had no way to tell that was the case, and that could happen because again, he was at a shelter and he was shown to cats and nothing happened because he was too distracted.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would think also it wasn't in his now home. It's a little different being showing a room, showing a dog a room of cats, and then showing a dog cats running around their own house. I think I had worked with
a Great Pyrenees. Great Pyrenees are either going to be gentle creatures or they want to chase everything. Big fluff ball, they look like cotton balls, giant Q-tips. And he was totally fine with the Great Pyrenees rescue. The rescue was located on a farm with a barn full of barn cats. So he walked past cats day in, day out on the farm, no problems. Once he got adopted, there were 5 cats in the house, and he started chasing. And there was no breaking him out of it. He was a danger to all of those 5 cats. He was able to squeeze through a doggy door this big, a regular sized doggy door, to get to those cats. So I ended up having to help them rehome that dog because the cats were in danger, absolutely in grave danger, being killed, being harmed and killed by him. So we ended up having to rehome him, and he went to a home with no cats, also a farm, and very, very happy for the rest of his life. So things can happen. Cat tests are not foolproof, but that's why I always tell people you have to do it slowly. And you know, when do you put a stop to it? You say, if your dog is extremely aggressive, cannot be distracted from staring down at the door where the cat is behind, and is unable to contain itself, and you cannot give him like a piece of bacon to distract him, that may be the time you say, okay, this is not safe for my existing cat, so I need to either return this dog or ask the rescue to help rehome it. Safety is the number one priority in these situations.
We have another written question.
Okay.
I have 3 boys, all 11 years old and up. What would be good ways to get them involved in being responsible for a new to the family dog? Yeah, you don't want to be the only person picking up the poop.
If kids are only responsible for picking up poop, no kid will ever ask for a dog.
That's true.
It's trust me, it's the grossest thing you need to do around a dog. Assigned, give them assignments. Like I said earlier on one of the slides, you want to have a chart, and you want to have assignments, who's doing what and who did what. It doesn't always have to be the same. Every day can be different person to feed morning, feed evening, or walk 2 times a day or whatever, but every day should be an assignment, so that this way everybody knows what they're being responsible for on that day, and they should all rotate, so that Jack's not always picking up poop constantly. Unless Jack really wants to, then that's a whole other story, but
Okay, I think Emily had a question. Would you like to unmute yourself, Emily?
Sure.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I brought home a 3-month-old puppy the first week of August. So she's now a little more than 5 months old.
Okay.
And I have 4 cats, and she's doing really well with them. They're, I
Yeah.
have 2 that are very shy still. But so my question is, I keep her in the living room with the baby gates at night because the cats sleep on the bed with us, and I want them to have their space. So
Mm-hmm.
the puppy really didn't take to the crate. And so I'm kind of using the living room as her crate because she
Mm-hmm.
just prefers the couch over the crate for sleeping at night, which I understand. Do you think it's like, are there benefits? Should I try to go back to crate training her, or is it just okay at this point?
Is the puppy doing any damage to your living room?
The puppy has been amazing. She hasn't chewed anything. We're doing really well with potty training, so she hasn't destroyed anything.
Oh, there you have your answer. If she does not need to be confined because she is destroying stuff, then leave her be.
Okay, awesome. Because I grew up, my mom, we never crates didn't even like
That's
exist.
perfectly fine. But you got to remember, there's one thing about confinement that I tell people. Even like my dogs are, they don't have access to the whole house, but they do have a crated area for a gated area for them. And I wish I lived there because it's so awesome with the day bed and everything. So that's something that again, confinement, not necessarily crating, but confinement. Like, for example, if your dog is sick and needs to stay at the vet overnight, she has to be confined. So how is she going to take on to that confinement? Is it going to stress her out more because she's now confined? Or is she going to look at that closed gate and go, oh, I totally know this. I'm okay. I'll just go to sleep. So that's something that you want to take into consideration. Do you want to maybe try a little bit of put her in a exercise pen, instead of crate? That might be something worth considering.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for doing
You're
this.
welcome. You're welcome.
That question reminded me of a thought I had during your presentation, thinking about, in my head, I thought all the things we're doing wrong, which, not necessarily wrong. As you said, it's working for Emily and her family.
Mm-hmm.
For example, our dog Sarah, when we got her about 2 years old, she was under socialized and had been through a sort of rehab program. And her crate became her safe space.
Mm-hmm.
And she slept in it all night for a few years now. And now she doesn't sleep in it the whole night. It's open, but it still remains her safe space. So if there's fireworks or thunder, and we're not around, we know that's where she'll go. So we leave it out, even though we don't confine her.
Mm-hmm.
We rarely confine her now.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe when work people come, that sort of thing.
That's a good setup, though. Again, my dogs are not confined, but when they were fosters, they were confined.
Mm-hmm.
Because the whole point of teaching a foster to learn to be crated and to accept being crated is that we want to make it easy for the adopter. We do a lot of the training and a lot of the hardware before we adopt these dogs out.
Mm-hmm.
And crating is one of those things where I tell people, I said, listen, we do all the work. And if people want to spoil the dog, that's their thing. That's perfectly okay. But what we do is we need to do all these things to prepare them for adoption. The better they're trained, the more doors they're going to open, and the more adopters are going to be available to them. That's the whole point of putting these dogs in a foster home that's willing to work with them.
Yeah.
Okay. So
another thing you touched
yeah.
on reminded me of when we first got her, and she's a decent sized dog. She's about 65 pounds, and she jumped on the bed, and we had already been to some training, and I thought to myself, right, I have to make a decision whether or not she's going to be allowed on the bed. And her first 2 years were pretty lousy, first 2 years on earth. So I said, sure, have at it. And
yeah,
we love it. but still
Yeah.
works for us. Okay, we have another question.
Okay, so
It's about smells. Love it. You have cats in the house, and there is still one room that smells a bit of pee. We have not yet tackled it. Is this a red flag, or can we adopt the dog and train him or her to stay away from that space? Cats were elderly. I'm guessing the question is to keep the dog away from peeing in that space.
that is a total red flag. Total red flag. You need to get that space uh, probably professionally cleaned. Get somebody in to steam clean that area and get that smell out. I actually purchased a uh, what do you call it? Black light, so that you can see urine stains. And
Oh, that's
I turn
scary.
the I turn the black light on and I go, oh my goodness.
Did it
I mean,
like
I have
I'd
a
be like,
pretty,
burn in the house, I'm moving.
I'll be like, we're listing, hey, Trey, can you get me in touch with your husband? I'm listing the home tomorrow. It's happened, and I have a pretty sensitive sense of smell. Even I can catch it.
Mhm.
So if you know that area has been peed on by your cat, you need to get it professionally cleaned before you bring another animal in there, because another cat is gonna pee on it, and that dog is gonna keep peeing on it or possibly digging at it to get down to the smell. Okay, smell. It's kind of like your kid finding the arcade on the boardwalk. Your kid is going to gravitate toward it. Okay, there is no going, hey, look the other way, there's ice cream. It doesn't work that way. They want the arcade, they're going to go to the arcade. If that smell is a lot more entertaining, that's where they're going to be. Yeah, a professional clean, or you want to try steam cleaning yourself, that's totally fine, but I would spend the money to just get it done properly and over with.
All right, another question. Do you recommend fostering dogs and or cats when you have kids who are older and may head off to college, or is that too stressful an environment for kids and animals?
That's an interesting question. I want to say maybe it's just me, but maybe other NorthStar fosters that are currently on watching this presentation, maybe they can chime in a little bit as well. But foster dog slash cats in foster tend to know that that's not permanent. Mine certainly all behave that way, because whenever I adopt them out, they never look back, and that's the way I want it. I want them to go, see ya, and be gone, because I am looking, I always look for that better. Even though I'm a trainer, I have a giant backyard, they get 8 hours of activities every single day, but I want them to look at a family that comes to see them and go, this is who I belong with, goodbye, and never look back. That's what I look for. So with a kid, you know what, your college kid, because they're already involved with going to college, they may know not to get attached, because kids are not stupid, they have their priorities. It's not, it will not be stressful of an environment for a foster dog or cat. You can also choose to foster dog or cats that are easier to handle during that period of time. So instead of signing out to foster a dog that's coming from a hoarding cage where there are 85 other dogs and this one is scared of its own shadow, maybe foster an older dog that is well-rounded and totally awesome. And he's gonna look at the kids, go, oh, they're not here tomorrow, okay, and he will shrug it off. So you don't always have to have the difficult cases. Sometimes you can go for an easy one too. So, but I think in those situations where you think that the environment or the timeline may be stressful, look for an easier to foster dog and cat.
Okay. And the commenter did add that the parents will still be around. So I suppose.
Yeah, though that again, if the parents are the primary caretakers of the foster animals, there's very little impact in that.
Okay.
Very, very
It may
little
actually
impact.
help them when the kids go off to school to have the dog or cat there too.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I like that.
And thus roles in the foster winning. They might want to keep the dog or the cat. You never know.
That's true.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
think
here you go.
also,
Yes, helping the parents cope with kids going away. Yeah, and that's another gateway drug of getting into fostering is you're gonna replace you don't want to be an empty nester, so you start fostering, and that is approved by this trainer.
I think also it helps to socialize the foster when people are there for a while. They get used to them. They get
Yeah.
comfortable. They go
Yeah.
away. Other
Yeah.
people
Back.
come in.
Yeah.
So I think it's good for socialization.
Yeah, like changes can be good after a while. It's a challenge that we really need to put them up to. Once they become comfortable, you want to kind of hit them with a little challenges here and there, kind of to prepare them for the future too. And this is all part of training and conditioning and desensitization. So good job, Jackie.
I have a couple questions for Trey.
Oh.
I know you talked a little bit about NorthStar Pet Rescue in general. I was wondering if you could talk about your mission and how the south to north pipeline figures in and why it figures in. Just for those who are curious about why are the dogs coming up here.
Sure. So we do save local dogs from shelters and take in owner surrenders, but a majority of our dogs do come from Texas. Texas happens to be one of the states with the highest euthanasia rate. It's a huge problem over there. They're constantly, the shelters are just so overburdened. And over, our founders, Tammy and Jeff, over their years of establishing the rescue network that they have built a whole team of volunteers and fosters in Texas. So because we're foster based, what we will do is, tag a dog from the euthanasia list out of a shelter there in Texas, but we will put it in a foster home in Texas first before it comes to New Jersey. So the dog will get medical care. We'll learn a little bit more about the dog while it's in foster in Texas, and will remain in Texas usually for at least 3 weeks, sometimes longer, depending on what its medical needs are. And then we'll move the dog to a foster home in New Jersey and then look for a forever home. So our process in that way is a little slow, like we kind of slow it down a little bit, whereas we're learning about the dog a little more before we place them in a home. And the other, I know one of the other questions that's roundabout in there is, there's dogs also in shelters in New Jersey. Why, if we're in New Jersey, why don't we just hone in on those and just save the dogs from New Jersey? And fortunately in New Jersey, there are a lot of the shelters don't have all kinds of breeds in them because those breeds aren't landing there. Unfortunately, you will note when you're looking at the local shelters that they are totally overburdened with pit bulls and breeds like pit bulls. And as much as we love pit bulls, I mean, we're dog lovers. We're spending all our free time rescuing dogs. So, we love them all, but not all adopters want pit bulls. So, if we're not bringing some other dogs in that these adopters are looking for, they're liable to then not adopt at all. And then dogs in other places are dying, because they're instead going to a pet store or buying when they would have adopted, but they just couldn't find what they wanted. So it kind of is, we still do help local dogs. But we also do help out-of-state dogs. And primarily right now we are focusing on Texas because of the fact that we do have a support network there. And that is an area that really needs help. We also have an extreme soft spot for medical needs dogs. And a lot of times that's the local dogs that you'll see us taking in. We took six dogs from Newark recently. They all have medical issues. One has leukemia, one was diabetic. They've all of them were at our vet for at least two weeks getting just straightened out before we could even place them into foster homes. So, you know, and we will find them adopters too. We tend to have a knack at finding the seniors and the medical dogs a final home. But, you know, we have to kind of look at also what our adopters are looking for. So that way we can place the dogs. We don't want to like not, you know, let dogs die simply because they don't live in New Jersey, you know? So we kind of spread our wings all over.
Yeah, let me add a little bit on the pit bulls. I have two myself. I have two pit bull mixes myself. One's from New York City, from the Bronx. One is from Tennessee, and the little Chihuahua mix I have is from Texas. As far as helping local pit bulls go, there are quite a number of well-known local pit bull rescues. And when people are looking for pit bulls to adopt, they tend to go to those rescues. They don't really look toward NorthStar. I mean, we've had some pit mixes in the past, but they tend to linger because people just aren't looking toward us for a, you know, or for a bully type dog. And you know, not that there's a lack of home for them. When you have the right kind of dog, there's always a right family. But because we're just not known for pits, so people tend to not look at us. There are others like Second Chance, Rescue Dogs Rock, New England, Foster-based Rescue. These are all rescues that I have, you know, encountered. I have assisted with in the past, and they, you know, they are very, very well known for getting pit bulls adopted out and pulling rescues from New York ACC, pulling rescues from Newark, that kind of stuff. So not that we don't want to. I mean, I used to foster pit bulls exclusively. Not that we don't want to. It's just that this is just, you know, it's just seeing that just people are just not looking toward NorthStar for pits. Chihuahuas, little Chihuahuas.
Yes.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, even I was never a small dog person, but then I foster one, and it's like potato chips, and I just can't stop. So.
People definitely come to us for senior dogs, little dogs.
Yeah, for little dogs. Yeah.
We also have a Pyrenees thing we do because you know, we have a great person in Texas that helps place livestock guardian dogs. So she brings them in, and if they can be livestock guardian dogs, she will place them that way. If they are not up to that challenge and they just want to be a pet, a lot of times she will reach out to us and we'll take them into our rescue. So you will actually see a lot of Pyrenees walking around Boonton if you live local, and a lot of them are NorthStar dogs. So we go from really big Pyrenees to the little Chihuahua, you know. But another thing with certain breeds, you know, there's definitely in New Jersey, there's definitely the shelters have you know, certain breeds that they are more filled with. And there's also people that live in townhomes or apartments or community type living that are restricted from certain breeds as well. So you know, New Jersey has a lot of townhome living and that kind of living. So all those people just can't bring those kind of dogs into their home, even if they wanted to, because they're just not allowed to. So, you know, I think, you know, we have our place in what we do, and we have, you know, people that come to us for that. And there's wonderful other rescues that even we work with and we do stuff with that, you know, specifically, you know, do pit bulls or specifically do other breeds. So we kind of do it all.
We do
it all. Yeah.
Okay. If anybody has any questions, you can type or unmute. I do want to mention, if you see the chat, we've shared NorthStar's website, which is just www.northstarpets.org. And then also the link for how to donate. There's a few different ways. Do you have an Amazon wish list? I saw you on there. Is that up to date? Should people search?
That is up to date. Yes. Okay. Yeah. But that's usually a great way if you want to buy some things we need, because our dogs are in foster. Our needs could be a little different than rescues that have a kennel. Rescues that have a kennel, you know, tend to need different things than us because they have dogs living on the property. Whereas a lot of times we're lucky because our fosters, you know, want to spoil their foster dogs with their own stuff, which kind of helps us out. And it just keeps, you know, keeps their, you know, a lot of times they want to feed the same food that their dog is eating or things like that. So we kind of have different needs. So our wish list is a great place to go to.
Okay, and do you have swag that you sell? I think I saw somebody wearing a NorthStar hoodie. Maybe?
We do. So we actually do have, we always have long sleeve and short sleeve NorthStar shirts for sale at our adoption center and at our events. Right now, due to COVID though, we haven't really been doing in-person events or in-person events at our adoption center, but we also do a swag sale every fall, whereas you can buy hoodies and sweatshirts and things like that. So that'll probably be launched probably before the holidays. Right now, if you do go onto our website, we do have a fun sale going on right now for shirts in different colors and styles that actually have a little play on the social distancing. It's got like a chihuahua on it that says, "Dude, I said 6 feet back." And those are on sale for another, and it has NorthStar on it. We had a graphic designer create that for us. We actually ran that fundraiser last month, but we had people asking for more. So we just relaunched it. So for the week, you can buy these fun shirts. And as I said, they come in different styles and different colors. So, and that's a fundraiser for us as well. So when you buy, you're also helping the rescue pups.
Okay, I put a link to that page too. We have another question. As this person is part of a local Boy Scout troop and wonders if there's something specific that could be done to help NorthStar Pet Rescue, for example, donations, fundraisers, etc. No promises, but they'll try.
Okay. Yes, we have actually worked with some local Girl Scout groups in the past. I know something they usually like to do is some kind of supply drive. You know, if you look at our Amazon wish list, you can kind of see the kind of items we need. And I know in the past, we just had one recently, just in September, they had items being collected at a local pet store for us. So they had like a big donation bin, and they ran that fundraiser for us. So, I mean, things like that always are helpful.
Okay, let's see. Okay, any other questions? Either verbally or otherwise? Oh, I'm sorry, did you mention the wreath sale? I got a wreath.
Oh, yes.
last year. It was phenomenal. It lasted a long time. It was reasonable. It was beautifully decorated. I got so many compliments on it.
Yes, so we do a holiday wreath sale every year. We are doing that again. Actually, right now, we just actually ordered the stuff from the farm. So that will be probably posting up on our Facebook, and you can will also be on our website probably within the next week. There's an order form. You pre-order the wreaths. You can pick your design and what things you want on it. And then the wreaths will be picked up at our adoption center Thanksgiving weekend, I believe. We'll have, you know, a pickup time right there that weekend. And our adoption center, once again, is across from Town Hall. The wreath sale is for local pickup only. So if anyone's listening that's far away, we're not shipping. So this is kind of just a local fundraiser. We have other ways online that you can help us out. We'll also be doing a Pampered Chef fundraiser and some other things coming up. So.
Okay, and that'll all be on Facebook. I just shared the.
Yeah, so that we put all the events on Facebook, and then also will be on our website as well. Anything that we put up on Facebook goes right to the events tab on our website too. Okay. So.
All right, great. Yeah, love that wreath. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I love the wreaths too. They're awesome.
Okay. Trey, anything you'd like to say before we log off?
I just thank everyone for spending your night with us tonight. I know everyone's always very busy. I want to really thank Elvine. She's put time into putting this presentation together, and her information is always helpful. I mean, I've been a dog owner forever, and as I do also volunteer, but I always find these types of things helpful even for me. So it's always good to have a refresher. And thank you to the library for including us in your programming for the month of October. The library is doing different things all month for Adopt a Shelter Dog Month, which is awesome. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you,
so I actually have a friend that is watching me do the presentation on my phone. And she reminded me to talk about my house rules, a little bit about my house, what I do with my dogs. there are a couple things that I want to remind people. Dental health, extremely important. I actually brush my dog's teeth and my cat's teeth twice a day,
That's
morning and evening.
amazing.
Morning and evening. So we're talking 3 dogs and 2 cats. Okay, you don't have to be crazy like me, but once a day, please, please, please do it, because this is going to save your dog, especially your small dog's teeth, from rotting away. All right. Um, Potty breaks. How often? My dogs are older. They're 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever they are. I'm not quite sure, but we go out. Whenever I'm home, we go out probably every 2 to 3 hours. Why? I go to the bathroom whenever I want to. I'm not gonna wait for them to tell me they have to go. If I think they might need to go, we're gonna go. You know, I treat them the same way really the same way I want to be treated. I have gates everywhere in the house. I hate open concept houses. I hate open concept floor plans. There are gates everywhere. The only one that can jump over the gates is the cat. Everybody else, they're either in the same room with me or they're in their room and I'm upstairs, I don't know, folding laundry or something. They don't need to have access all over the place. My dogs get a variety of toppers on their food. Monday could be, canned food. Tuesday, dehydrated food. Wednesday, sardines. So there's always something different. A variety is the key to avoid getting them so accustomed to something that they will get an upset stomach if you drop a piece of cheese on the floor. Dogs that enjoy walking, go out for walks. Dogs that enjoy playing in the yard, stay in the yard. Whatever they want, whatever they're happy with, we're going to do that. You know why? Because these guys had a tough life before I adopted them. I'm going to make their life with me as happy as possible. And if that means I let them decide that they may not want to go to different places, or they may want to go to different places, we're going to do that. I'm going to be as accommodating as I can. Mani-pedi, once a month with nail scissors and a Dremel. That's what I do. It's a whole elaborate thing because I have so many toes to take care of. It's a whole process, but it's very easy. And I do not wrap my forehead in saran wrap with peanut butter on it. That is a no-no. My dogs do not have a set schedule because I don't have a set schedule. Sometimes I'm working well into 9, 10 o'clock at night. Sometimes I'm up at 6 and my day is over by 5. So they get fed in the morning, they get fed in the evening. They wait for me to get dressed and leave my bed. Like just get ready, get dressed, and then I go, let's go. And then they will leave with me. They don't wake up and go, Mommy, it's 7 o'clock. We got to get the day started. There's none of that. They will wait for me to start the day for them. We always, again, extremely important, always go to the vet with a bag of treats to use as a training opportunity. Okay, a lot of times if you're lucky, you're only going to the vet maybe twice a year. Lucky you, all right? But during those twice a year, during those 2 visits, bring a small bag of treats, take your dog there, have the vet take every person you walk past, have them give your dog a treat, have your vet give your dog a treat. If he's gonna get poked and prodded, lots of treats. After an injection, another treat. After blood drawn, another treat. Treat. Make it as positive as possible so that he's not going there and going, I'm going to kill everybody because they scare me. And that is extremely important because your vet and your vet tech will appreciate you teaching your dog to love them too. Okay, so it's been a pleasure. It's a wonderful opportunity to share my knowledge with everybody tonight. I see a lot of familiar faces, and I know every single one of them have been using me for free advice through the years. But they're my friends, and I love them. And thank you for everybody else for coming. And I thank Boonton Library and NorthStar for giving me this opportunity to share with everybody tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elvine. Thank you, Trey.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you all. Now I'm gonna go cuddle the dogs.
That's what I'm doing already.
I did want to share that on the chat. I've shared the library's Facebook page and the website. We are having next Wednesday, so a week from tomorrow, is one of our happy hour programs. We do something every Wednesday. And next week, we are welcoming back local artist and educator Lori Hardin. She's going to teach us how to sketch our dogs. So if you're interested, you can email us the same way you registered for this. Email registrations@BoontonHomesLibrary.org and just put happy hour or dog sketching in your subject line.
Yeah, Lori's amazing. She's done some portraits for us as gifts to people over the years. She's really good.
Nice.
Yes.
And we do other things that have nothing to do with dogs, and you can look at our link, our Facebook page or our website to find out about those. All right, this program was recorded, so probably in a couple days we'll put it up on our YouTube channel, and we'll note that on Facebook too, if you'd like to revisit it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trey, and thank you, everyone. Oh, and thank you, Allie. She's also from the library, and she was on standby for technical difficulties.
Yes.
My butt on quite a few occasions. Thank you, everyone, for attending.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Have a
Have a
good
good
night.
Thank you
night.
so much.
everybody.
So
Bye-bye.
helpful.
Thank
Bye
you.
now.
Thank you.
Bye.